Welcome to Veterans Air, the Veterans Hour. I am your host, Douglas B. Welcome to part two of a four-part series on the Republican candidates and what they're running for. If you listened to the last podcast yesterday, you would have known that the VFW 4709 here in Conroe did a constituents, the candidates and constituents mix and mingle on the 8th of February. We had about 42 people show up, candidates. And since there were so many candidates, they didn't have a chance to speak in general to their constituents. It was more of a one-on-one, grab a glass of wine, have an hors d'oeuvre type of thing. But since I was there, I gave every candidate that wanted the opportunity to take advantage of the opportunity to get 3 minutes on the air with Veterans Air to talk about who they are, what they stand for, and why you should vote for them. Today, we're going to do the same thing that we did yesterday. We'll put their videos up. Dan McCallaghan is running for Congress in the Texas Congressional District 8. Martin Atwa is also running for Congress in the Texas Congressional District 2. Jeannie Stewart is running for the county clerk here in Montgomery, and Ben Armenta is running for the Texas Land Commission. If I've mispronounced any of your names and you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I did get a response from, or a message rather, from yesterday's showing of the first four candidates. They wanted to know why were they all Republican and what's this GOP thing? Republican is the party that these candidates belong to. And the reason that they're all Republicans is because the Republican Party has a primary. The voting for that primary runs from February 14th through March 1st. And what a primary does, or the purpose of the primary for the Republican Party, is to determine who is going to be the Republican Party's representative in the general election in November. There's multiple candidates for Congress. As we know, Kevin Brady is stepping down. He's retiring as our congressman, so that position is open. People are running for it. Texas Land Commission, people are running for it. People are running for different offices at the local city, county, state, and federal level are being elected. And the Republicans have a primary. So you, if you belong to the Republican Party, can vote and say, I want the resources of the Republican Party to back this candidate. The Democratic Party, let's go back. That's why they're all Republican, because of the time frame and the upcoming Republican primary. GOP is actually the name that the Republican Party assumed way back in 1867, and it stands for the Grand Old Party. You can Google it and find out more information if you're interested in the history of the Republican Party. This seems a little one-sided because we're only representing the Republican Party. Those are the only people that showed up. It was open to all constituents and to all candidates, but only the Republicans signed up. If you're a Democrat out there and you want to have the same opportunity as your colleagues that are running for the office, contact me, 936-344-3083, and we'll schedule a time and I will get you your 3 minutes on Veterans Air. Guaranteed. If you're an independent, guaranteed. If you're running for office between now and November's general election, please contact me. You can get me at info@VeteransAir.us. Send me an email. Send me a text on our in-studio Google phone, 936-344-3083, and I will get you on the show. So I'm going to be slicing and dicing these together as the days progress, and more and more and more. I have 17 candidates to get through. I hope you enjoy this format. I hope that it enlightens you and encourages you to do more research on a given candidate for a given position. It doesn't make a hill of beans whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, a purple unicorn. Don't care. If you're an American, it's your duty to vote. And since it's your duty to vote, it is your duty to vote for the candidate that you feel will best take your concerns, your wants, desires, and bring it forth into that office. Not what the candidate stands for, what you stand for. You tell the candidate when he's in office what he or she will and will not do. That's your guarantee under the Constitution. They have to listen to you. I hope that makes sense. So without further ado, let's get to the candidates and see what they have to say about themselves and why they want to be in that office.
And you're live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dan McConnell, and I'm a candidate for U.S. Congress for Texas Congressional District number 8.
Speak up.
So as you guys probably know, there are 11 candidates in this race, 11 candidates in the race for Texas Congressional District 8. A little bit about myself, though. I grew up in Montgomery. I graduated from Montgomery High School. I went to the U.S. Naval Academy and served 20 years in the Navy as a helicopter pilot, among other things. Got my bachelor's degree at the Naval Academy in Ocean Engineering. I went to the Naval Postgraduate School and got a master's degree in computer modeling and virtual environments. I retired from the Navy 6 years ago and moved back to Montgomery, Texas to raise my kids, let them finish high school, and be in the same area where I grew up and that shares the same values that I have. So you might ask, why am I running for Congress? Well, there's a number of answers for that. The first one would be I'm kind of selfish and I want the government out of my life. So what better way to get the government out of my life than to go be a part of the government and actually make that happen? The second and probably more important reason that I'm running is that like all veterans and all service members, I swore an oath to the Constitution to support and defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic. We've been fighting a foreign enemy since the whole time basically the nation's been in existence, but it's not until recently that we've had to look inward to see where the new enemy has come, and that is an enemy within our borders. That is an enemy that is tearing down the fabric of our nation with our values, our Constitution being trampled upon, the redefinition of words, and the government just growing in a way that it was never intended to be. So that is why I'm running. I'm running to put the federal government back in its constitutional box, to chop off all the tentacles that it has sprouted into our kids' education system, into our cities, into our automobiles, into our medicine cabinets, into our homes, into our businesses, into our pocketbooks. So the government has gotten so big and so invasive that we have lost our liberty, we have lost our freedom, and we are on the brink of tyranny. So we also cannot hide the fact that we have open borders, we have a runaway budget, we have inflation that's at a 40-year high. We have all these different things that lead me to believe that there's a deliberate attack on our nation to dismantle it as we know it and to rebuild it in a different way, maybe in a socialist way or a communist way. I think what sets me apart from the other candidates is I don't hear them talking about the solutions to saving our nation. They talk about plugging all the holes, but they don't talk about actually draining the swamp on the other side. And when I say swamp, I mean, yes, the DC swamp, but also just all those things that the left uses to strip our liberties and destroy our nation. I'm Dan McConnell, danfortexas.com. Thank you.
Dan, I got one question for you.
Yes.
As a prior military individual.
Yes, sir.
When you left the service of this country, did anyone relieve you of your oath?
No, sir. An oath never expires.
Thank you for your
All right,
service.
and that's the fire in my heart to serve right now.
Thank you for your service, Dan. Good luck.
Thanks, sir.
You're live.
Hi, my name is Martin Atwa, and I'm running for Texas 2nd Congressional District. What does that mean? I'm taking down Dan Crenshaw. And why am I running? For the children, for my kids, and your grandkids. You know, I was born in Uganda, one of the craziest, worst countries in the world. I'm sure you've heard of Idi Amin. It's been worse than that since then. But it's not about Uganda anymore. It's about the future of America. Today, it seems like we've lost our values, what we stand for, what America is all about. Individual liberties, freedom. We've forgotten about our individual responsibilities, our values that God has given to us. We've forgotten about our neighbors. We're so selfish now. Why? We're more concerned about corporate money than about my neighbor. So, we're spending $30 trillion flying around the world raising money, but we don't care about my children, my 6-month-old, my 8-year-old, and your children and grandchildren. That's why I'm running for Congress. Because we are allowing socialism in this nation again, like we don't really care that it's the worst, most destructive political system. Venezuela, where is it? The former Yugoslavia, the USSR, where are they? Socialism killed those nations. And here we are asking for socialism. We're saying to spend $6 more trillion for the Green New Deal. You know who's going to pay for those $6 trillion of socialism? My kids, your grandkids. And no, I'm not going to sit by and watch that happen. I've seen socialism destroy my home country where I was born. I've seen hate. I've seen destruction because of these things that we're advocating for today. And as your congressional representative, I'm going to stand against this, stand against racial hatred. I'm going to stand against CRT. I'm going to stand against socialism that AOC and her crew, who have no idea what socialism is all about, they're advocating for. And I'm not going to be flying around the country raising money for the party when I need to be home in Conroe, Texas, in the 2nd Congressional District to hear from the people. I'll be home listening from you. When I'm not in DC, I'll be in Texas. So we can discuss how better to make America, how better to make the district. My name is Martin Atwa. I'm running for Congress. And my promise to you is we are going to save America together. Go to my website, www.martinatwa.com, and support me. Thank you very much. God bless you.
In your life.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me the opportunity to introduce myself to all of you. My name is Ben Armenta, and I'm working hard every day to earn the votes of all Texans to be your next land commissioner. I'm a former firefighter and a former teacher, and I went to A&M, and I've been a businessman and an entrepreneur for over 20 years. I now live in the Katy area. And over the last year or so, the mandates and the lockdowns were taking their toll on my companies, and I was complaining a lot. And one day, my wife, Christy, came up to me and she said, enough, what are you going to do about it? And she was right. Look, if we're going to create the change that we want, and we're going to do better by taking care of all of our neighbors and all Texans, then we all have a role to play. And this is a role that I can play. Now, I find that many Texans know very little about the land office. The land office is super important. It takes care of our most treasured assets, from the Alamo to 13 million acres of state lands. It even oversees disaster recovery for the state of Texas. So after hurricanes or wildfires, it administers the dollars that Texans need to rebuild their homes and their businesses and their churches and schools. But it also oversees our veteran services. You know, this agency was started before we were even a state, with two purposes in mind: to make lands available to generate revenue for public schools, and to make lands available for our Texas veterans. And today that means that our veterans have access to low-interest home loans through the Veterans Land Board. They can even purchase Texas state land. Our veterans have access to 10 long-term care nursing facilities Their spouses have access to that as well. And the land office also manages our state veteran cemeteries. But there are issues within the land office. It is broken, and it needs to be run way more like a business. In November of last year, the leader in the land office, who's in charge of investing our taxpayer dollars, came out and said that our veteran cemeteries were a burden on the Texas taxpayer. Let me be clear. Our veterans are never a burden. And it's my promise that as our next land commissioner, I'm going to take care of our veterans. I have said that I'm going to donate half of my salary back into veteran services, and I'm going to build an additional cemetery with only state dollars so that our National Guardsmen and our reservists can also have a place of honor and respect. God bless you all. If you want to vote for a change and for an outsider and a businessman, vote Ben Armenta for Texas Land Commissioner. Thank you.